I wanted to share a few observations with you that they have said about each other before we get into questions today. For example, David Seymour has described Winston Peters as the least trustworthy person in New Zealand politics and has said, "We're not going to be sitting around the cabinet table with this clown." He then said that he wouldn't fight Winston Peters because it would be elder abuse. Winston Peters retorted that David Seymour reminds me of a chihuahua at the front gate barking at every cat, human being or fellow dog that passes by. He then said David Seymour discovered his Māoriness the same way Columbus discovered America, purely by accident, and went on to make a number of other comments. But he then went on to say of David Seymour, "I've spent much of my career respecting and working for retirees," and then accused David Seymour of wanting to euthanise them, and then said, "As for your nasty comments about my physical, I reckon you'd last about 10 seconds in the ring with me," which is about how long a National Act New Zealand First government would be able to hold it together. Clearly, the idea of a government involving Winston Peters and David Seymour would be a recipe for chaos. It wouldn't be in New Zealand's best interests, and the best way for New Zealanders to avoid that is to give their party vote to Labour.
Is this all a bit desperate? I mean, you're coming out here with these pre-prepared lines after a poll yesterday, and the Herald this morning showed that you have a 0.2 percentage point of chance of forming a government. Coming out here with those lines, all a bit desperate.
I think New Zealanders deserve to know what kind of government they would get under a National Act New Zealand First coalition, which would be chaos, and it would be cuts, and it would grind New Zealand to a halt.
But you seem to be spending more time talking about this coalition of cuts and chaos than you are talking about Labour.
Because that's the big risk in this campaign. I mean, they still clearly dislike each other.